Live from New York. It's the show that is cautiously optimistic about Mac Jones.
No, hold on.
Whoa.
Hold on. You cannot do that, bro.
Why?
Because the show is not.
What did I say?
Leader of the show.
You said that he is the leader of the show, but he's not the entirety of the show. Brew.
But am I allowed to say, like,
I'm not going to say I'm optimistic. Look, I could see him going out there and having a couple of
But that's
Danny, cautiously optimistic?
Yeah, you could beat the Saints.
Okay.
You think he's resurrected his career?
Jesus,
That's
guys.
the
You guys
difference.
missed
think
the
he's
point.
resurrected his
He
career?
didn't clear it with any of us. My point is this. Is he allowed to say the first things first, the show that
Yes.
if he's the only person that believes it?
Well,
I know, we just did it. And how many people have to
You're
ask?
optimistic about Mac Jones?
Cautiously.
No, I mean,
Cautiously?
No.
I think it's
Cautiously.
possible he
Thank
goes
you.
out there and plays well.
We're counting down the days to the Super Bowl rematch. We will be in Kansas City on Friday from the Power and Light District. Come on by. Patrick Mahomes spoke today about how he can be better against the Eagles. Here's a wild stat. Super Bowl loser seems extreme. People who lost the Super Bowl. In a rematch the next regular season, everybody loses except when the Eagles went into Arrowhead and won.
So everybody loses except when it's Chiefs-Eagles. Sounds good to me.
I mean, that's what
That's what
good way.
you
That's
put
the
it.
last
I mean,
30
that's what you're showing me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
odd, right? That's like a classic Super Bowl hangover.
It also
stat.
is an interesting thing that this used to be incredibly rare that we got it, and now we've gotten it 3 straight years.
Yeah.
We got it 4 times in the 27 years before.
No offense to the 90s schedule makers. Penciled that sucker in.
What were they thinking?
Super Bowl rematch. What would
TV.
an 0-2 start mean for the Chiefs?
Not much.
Oh.
Not much because of who they're playing. Because it wouldn't be 0-2 like, and I'm not picking on Cincinnati, with Cincinnati's opening schedule. Or, you know, the Chargers are a team that I know some smart people like you really believed in. I think everybody thought would be good. Nobody was like, Chargers are going to be a 4-win team. They played great. And everybody thinks the Eagles are, you know, somewhere from very good to excellent on that scale. And this is, as Brew was saying about the Niners yesterday potentially, this is not an excuse, but a potential explanation of the Chiefs being without their top 2 receivers. Depending on how the game looks would be another reason that you would not panic about it. And this is the part that I think, while they've never started 0-2 with Mahomes, they have had bad starts. And I think that's the point I was trying to make earlier, which is 2021, they started 3-4, and 2 of those games were the only 2 regular season blowouts of Mahomes' entire career were within that 3-4 start, and one of them was to Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, the other one was Josh Allen, and then they rallied. With that, so I don't think it would mean anything huge about the season as a whole. What it would mean is, for the first time since that year, they don't have a mid-season margin of error. You know what I mean? That they have to be able to lock in a way before Rasheed gets back. You know what I mean? Maybe without Xavier Worthy, and that Ravens-Lions portion of the schedule becomes a little more ominous.
I agree with you. I would not think they're not going to make the playoffs if they start 0-2. And that's, you know, a big deal because most teams that start 0-2, the overwhelming majority don't make the playoffs. And most teams in the league right now that start 0-2 will be written off. Not the Ravens, not the Chiefs, some of these other teams. Where I do think it would have significance, Nick, is that I think the Mystique already has taken a shot by the way the Eagles beat them in the Super Bowl, obviously what the Chargers just did. If Philly beats them again, it's be the first time Mahomes has ever lost 3 straight games in his career. And then when you know in all 3 losses, obviously the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. All 3 of those games the Chiefs are like hyped for. And they still can't, you know, get it together and win the game. I think, like, this Chiefs Mystique, which I think is real. I think it's definitely been real for the Ravens. I think it's real to some degree for the Bills. And everybody else except maybe Cincinnati and the Eagles, I think that would be largely gone, if not totally gone, if they lose this game. And I think that would be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm more with you it would be a blood in the water type situation. They wouldn't be done. I think the Chiefs are going to be contenders for the next 10 years with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But Mahomes has never lost 3 straight in his career. That would be something. It would be the first time ever. Last year, all of the close games, all of the weird results, like we talk about it in the media as like the Chiefs just have like the will of a champion and they know how to win and all that.
That's all correct, by the way.
I know, but I think that the players who play in those games that lose when the ball gets doinked off of an upright, they look at the film after the game and they're like, we were a play or 2 away from beating the Chiefs. I don't think that the players themselves that lost those 1-score games, they look at it as, we almost beat the champs. We almost beat the Chiefs. And so you combine all of it with 3 straight losses, a blowout in the Super Bowl, the fact that they do have a suspension. And I've heard you mention the 3 and 4 thing. And it's interesting, like after that Super Bowl loss. We can bring up the schedule here, just play it out. They play a lot of tough games. So if they start 0-2, let's say they beat the Giants 1-2, they could beat the Ravens, obviously. But the margin for error, as you put it, make them 3 and 4 just for the exercise.
Make them 4 and 5 going into the bye. They're still fine. Like again,
Man, I don't see. That's where.
What's the worst record you think they could have to make the playoffs?
Well, can I phrase it a little differently? I think 10 wins get you in. I think you might get in with 9, but I think 10 wins is in an expanded field. I don't think 10 wins is missing.
I agree.
And so, hold on. I was going to say something else, but KW has a Cheshire cat grin look on his face. Go ahead.
I don't want to say it.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, but now you have to.
You
have to.
You and I.
I don't want to say it. You're going to be so mad at me.
I'm not going to be mad at you.
I guarantee you, I bet you $100,000 you're going to be mad at me.
Deal.
Ooh. Wow.
You know how they call you Mr. Consistency?
I do.
You know how they call me the mayor of fair? I didn't like all this Chiefs talk. Chiefs are done talk. The way that Brew was going and the way that Danny was going, and it's like, what's their worst record? It started to sound like fodder for one of those Chiefs mixtapes that comes up on social media. And that gets my antennas up. This might be a trap game for the Eagles. I told you you wouldn't like it. I was so confident in the Eagles. Then I told you I don't like it. I'm the Jalen Hurts guy, but I started getting nervous. My antennas started to go crazy. I told you to do that. You had
$100,000.
I have to wire Wiles $100,000.
I don't like that at all.
I was so prepared to not be angry at your. I was so mentally prepared.
You thought it was going to be like, Jalen Hurts going to do this and that.
For you to just say some anti-Chiefs thing. That when you came, instead.
I told you.
The guy who makes $1 online sports wagers and cashes them out. This guy hedging his Eagles take again.
I'm not hedging.
Yes, I'm furious.
Like a trap game.
You're right. I'm furious. I'll pay you slowly over the next 5 months. I owe you $100,000 because
it's starting to feel like a trap game.
This guy, I'm gonna stab him in the heart. The
social media person is like, oh, word. All right, then Parkins said this, and I just don't want to be on it. I could feel it. I didn't like that at all.
You're going to be all over it no matter what. That's first of all.
I still am the Jalen Hurts guy, but this is, at this point, the pendulum has swung too far.
Nope.
They're going to miss the playoffs, all this stuff.
I don't think they're missing the playoffs.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just missing the playoffs, but if you lose this
You're like,
game,
oh, lose to the Giants, Abdul Carter. I'm like, slow down, Parkins.
I'll say that.
Hold on. Can I say one thing in all seriousness? And do I really owe you $100,000?
No.
Okay.
He'll let you cash out for 75.
Danny, last year his son picked every single Week 1 Sunday game, and he was 11-0 and made him cash out, and he hit them all. But regardless, this is the. I just want to say one thing about Mystique. I will agree with you guys entirely that if the Eagles win this game, if we get a Super Bowl rematch, for the first time in Mahomes' career, the opposing team has the mental edge. You know, I will agree with that specific rematch, maybe I shouldn't say his career, maybe Brady at the very beginning, but for the whole time since we've been, you know what I mean, in this era, I will agree with that. The Chiefs' mystique really, to me, only matters against one and kind of two teams, and it only matters in the playoffs. And it's the Bills and, to a lesser degree, the Ravens come the playoffs. And nothing can happen, in my opinion, in the regular season that if those two teams meet in January, if it's Chiefs-Bills in January, there is nothing that is going to make the Bills feel like they have the mental edge here. You know what I mean? That mystique will, even if they limp into the playoffs.
Maybe not I think that's fair. Maybe not the mental edge, but if the Chiefs are, and I'm not predicting this, but they're 11-6. They haven't looked good. They get in the playoffs as a wild card. I think the Ravens and the Bills, say they have great seasons, are certainly not feeling like they felt last year and the year before.
But the year before, it was exactly what it was.
But
they
the
were
Chiefs
11
still
and 6.
the Chiefs.
Yeah, but the Chiefs were the year before. The Chiefs were 11-6. They did go to Buffalo. They did have to go to Baltimore. That was the team
but they were
that
still
lost.
the defending Super Bowl
They were the defending champs, and
that's a significant difference.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know how much defending Super Bowl champs means in the AFC playoffs, when instead of being the one-time defending Super Bowl champs, you would be going to the playoffs as the three-time defending AFC
with
champs.
all of the playoff wins. Sure.
Can I ask you a question about this game specifically? And there's a lot of watching the Chiefs documentary, The Kingdom, about the Super Bowl, where Mahomes, as the leader of the team, thought they were in it when I think a lot of the fans felt like, ooh, this is getting away from him. But he still was like, let's go, and he's done it so many times. Do you think there's a chance? But then afterwards, he was pressing, trying to make something happen. When he ran into, I forgot the name of the Chargers guy that he bullied, he's like, I'm trying to make something happen. I was trying to get people fired up. And he's like, he never does that, like really crush a guy in maybe playoff games. Is there a chance that if the Chiefs fall down, that we could see a version of Mahomes where he's pressing and he kind of gets out of his normal Mahomesian self?
Yes.
I don't think that's good.
No, I agree. But you're asking,
is
there a chance?
As a guy who's rooting for the Eagles.
This guy
but I don't know. I'm all torn.
Yeah,
I thought he kind of did that in the Chargers game, and I thought he was great in that.
Oh, yeah.
Mahomes was awesome in that game.
I mean, that's what I thought. It's been a little controversial in some quarters. I thought Mahomes was really, really good Friday night. But I agree with you, Brew. He was pressing. And pressing, here's the thing. It's weird, and I know we got to move on. Because we talked about it earlier, he's been blown out 4 times in his career, lost by more than one score 6 times in his career. He's not afraid of being blown out. If it is going the wrong way, he is going to open the variance up and be like, all right, this could go really bad, and it did in the Super Bowl. But that's why he's the best come-from-behind quarterback ever. That's why his record, when they're down double digits, is a playoff. You know what I mean? They win 60% of the games because he gives them that chance.
Okay. Underwhelming game 1 for Saquon Barkley. Danny, are you buying that the Chiefs can stop Saquon?
Sure. I mean, they did it in the Super Bowl. 25 carries, 57 yards, longest rushing attempt, I think, was 10 yards in that game. It's kind of amazing that Steve Spagnuolo is still there.
Well, nobody will ever hire him to be a head coach again. It's very lucky.
It's an unbelievably underrated, lucky component of this Chiefs thing that, like, Andy Reid gets to coach the offense and a top 3 defensive coordinator in football for a defense that last year, if you remove Week 18 when they didn't play anybody and they got the Denver game, they were the second-ranked scoring defense in the NFL, and the year before they were the second-ranked scoring defense in the NFL. Like, it's coincided with Mahomes' not great statistical production. They've been consistently a great defense, and their defensive coordinator will never leave. So if he sets this, like, hey, we're going to take away what you do best, the old Belichick thing, well, they're going to take away Saquon Barkley. I think it's definitely in play that Saquon has a bad game again.
Totally in play. The thing is, and they shut down the Chargers run game. You know, they got past
I think
them, but
they
shut
didn't
down the
believe
run game.
Harbaugh would pass they didn't believe they'd listen to you, and they were all in on stopping the Chargers run game. They did, and they got shredded. But
the thing is, what I don't think they can do is stop both the run game and a big passing game. That's what happened in the Super Bowl. Jalen has a great game. Saquon doesn't. So I think they can take away Saquon. I don't know. Can they take away the pass game? Maybe. I don't think they can take away both.
Go, KW.
I'm just wondering what I'm sure they can because we've seen it. Now, granted, that led to 30 some odd offensive points in the Super Bowl, so I don't know if it's the best strategy. And I think that you have to weigh in, which I think is very interesting for Spags, and you tell me, he's a great schematic guy. And what I think takes the defensive coordinators from good to great or great to legendary like Belichick was, I also know what you want to do emotionally. And this A.J. Brown factor, 1 catch for 8 yards in the fourth quarter, it feels like they're going to want to feed him the ball. Now, does Spags let that happen? Like, okay, overfeed A.J., we're going to take away Saquon, or cover A.J. like crazy and see what happens to that sideline?
Listen, I think, and maybe this will be a mistake. It ended up, obviously everything went wrong in the Super Bowl, so maybe I don't know if there was that day a defensive game plan that would have changed that game. That to me was more about the Eagles' defense against the Chiefs' offense that got everything awry. I think they're going to have, for the 3rd straight game, a very similar defensive game plan, which is if the quarterback's going to drop back and throw it a bunch, we're going to make him beat us. Okay. And I'm not, again, it's not an insult. Right, it's not an insult Jalen Hurts because they literally just had Justin Herbert do it. I just think that is going to be the process. My biggest concern in this game for the Chiefs defense is that Jalen Hurts in week 1 had by a large margin the longest time to throw of any quarterback in the league. People have seen that little chart floating around Twitter where it's short passes and a ton of time to throw. What I'm worried about is the Chiefs not being able to generate pressure on Jalen looking and being like, I could try to force it in there, not going to, and he gets out and runs. You know what I mean? And that he has, I know that sounds recency bias because he just did something like that against Dallas.
A great running game.
But I think that he could have, that's where I think the Eagles could do real damage. I don't think they're going to give A.J. Brown 15 targets. I do think Jalen Hurts might have 12 quarterback runs.
Really?
And that to me is, that raises my blood pressure a bit.
Brew, as the wide receiver on the panel, Greg not here.
You ain't lying.
How many targets do you think A.J. Brown is going to get? Or should get? How about that?
I'm going to say going to get 7. Okay. I think the Eagles play to win. And, I mean, he's going to get more than 1 for sure.
You should get more than 1.
Yeah.
Well, why are you seem like concerned, I guess, about the Chiefs' defense when the body of work for them over the last 2 years suggests that the defense has been arguably what's carried your team?
Yeah, I patently reject the idea that last year the defense was the best part of the team. 2 years ago,
Mahomes is always the best part of the team.
2 years ago, I believe when the Chiefs won the year they beat the Niners in the Super Bowl, that team's defense was awesome. I was saying all year how awesome it was. Last year, I think that the Chiefs were in such low possession games because they were a 12-play offense and they were forcing other teams to be a similar ball control offense, that the points per game stat is less instructive than a points per drive stat. And I think that the Chiefs' pass defense last year was the inability to generate pressure on the quarterback without either Spags dialing up something awesome or Chris Jones being like, I got it. And I think Chris knew it at the end, which is why he freestyled on that play. Like, listen, we're not going to be able to get home. We haven't been able to cover. I need to generate a quick pressure like I did on Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl, force the overthrow, like I did on Josh Allen in the AFC Championship game that year to force the bad throw. He tried to be a hero, and the reason I didn't kill him for it is because he's won us a ton of playoff games being a hero, and he was trying to do that. So I just think that right now, they have real questions on getting to the quarterback. And when you marry that with, I think, a secondary that right now is a work in progress, that concerns me. That legit concerns me.
Since the 17-game season, 30 teams started 0-2. Only 5 made the playoffs. 3 last year, but being up.
But most teams that start 0-2
aren't
stink.
that good.
Yes.
Right.
That's the thing is,
skews the number.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.